to Hotel Transylvania!
Welcome back to Director's Choice. Count Dracula is an iconic legend, but in the Hotel Transylvania animated movies, he shares the spotlight in hotel business with his daughter Mavis.
What are you talking about?
Your dad never really thought of me as part of the family, all because I'm not a monster.
The adorable father-daughter pair and their gang of monsters and humans gave us a lot of adventure, laughter, and awe moments in the Hotel Transylvania trilogy. And for those of us who were relatively young when the first Hotel Transylvania animation was released in 2012, we got to grow up alongside Mavis, the heiress of the hotel. In this episode of Director's Choice, we're going to be taking a closer look at our favorite vampire teenager. From spunky teenager to overprotective mom, a huge chunk of the action in Hotel Transylvania comes from Mavis's adventures. But how much of her emotions are a result of teenage angst, and how much of it is peculiar to her nature as a vampire? Is there a deeper reason for her urge to want to experience being human? We're about to find out. And if you haven't seen any of the animations, there are a ton of spoilers ahead. Here's the breakdown of Mavis's psychology.
My head hurts.
Who is that?
Who is what? Oh, that! That is, nobody.
Seriously, Dad?
Dad?
Mavis is the only daughter of Dracula, owner of Hotel Transylvania, a sort of solace residence for monsters. She is 118 years old in the first animation, and 126 years old by the third part of the trilogy.
What's up, fellas?
Frank?
Living to the true image of a vampire teenager, Mavis is constantly dressed in soft gothic themes. With her short black hair, pale skin, makeup of dark eyeshadow and black lips, and black varnished nails, Mavis looked the part.
I used to love that game.
Get in there, maybe.
Really? But I'm a parent now.
Show 'em how it's done.
Mavis was a sweet teenage girl with a curious mind. She was raised by Dracula after her mother, his first love Martha, died when Mavis was still very young. Though they live in a hotel filled with monsters, Mavis and her dad are very close, and she was raised with love. However, the love came with a bit of overprotectiveness.
How did you find this place?
Oh, I was just mountain climbing with some dudes and heard this story about an awesome castle.
Mavis spent her entire life in room 174 of the hotel, and as she grew older, she wanted to explore more of the world outside the hotel walls.
Come on over here. The light is better.
Okay.
Dracula wanted to keep her safe and shielded from judgment in the world, so he kept her in the hotel. But Mavis's innocence couldn't accept or understand that. Mavis grew up very sheltered, and that was an aftermath of Dracula's overprotectiveness. She had very little knowledge about the world outside Hotel Transylvania, and as her 118th birthday approached, Mavis, like most teenagers, had a lot of questions.
Dad, you said that when I turned 118, I could go out into the world like every other adult that gets to come and go from this hotel. But maybe wavy, it's not safe, blah, blah, blah.
She was craving answers. Mavis's lack of knowledge about the world translated into a form of innocence. Though she was 118 years old, she still had a childlike innocence about her. She rehearsed the speech she wanted to use to convince her father to allow her to explore the world.
I said you can go.
You're just playing with me.
No.
Her air of innocence still carried on even after she met and married Jonathan, aka Johnny. On her first visit to Santa Cruz, Mavis was overwhelmed by the things she hadn't seen or experienced before. She overindulged on slushies at a 24-hour mark because she was amazed by the amount of flavors available.
Johnny, have you tried this Slurpee?
Not that quickly, hon.
Her innocence over little things like that, and much bigger things like love, or the zing as she calls it, makes it easy to remember that despite being over 100 years old, Mavis had never really experienced the full reality of life. The good, bad, and ugly were still a strange concept that she had to understand. But that doesn't mean she lacked sensitivity. Though she sometimes has an attitude, Mavis is very loving and kind. She took care and looked out for her dad and the monsters in the hotel, and she wore her heart on her sleeve when she met Jonathan. Because she typically has her heart open, she tends to be disappointed and hurt easily. Finding out that the human village she visited on her first lone venture out of the hotel was fake and planned by Dracula really hurt her feelings.
That was right.
She felt like he treated her like she was still a child, and though she was his child, she wanted to see the world as an adult. Being dumped by Jonathan, though it only lasted for a few minutes, was another blow to her emotions. But when she kissed him and admitted to her father that she liked him, Jonathan had left out of fear of Dracula. Though they later got reunited, thanks to Dracula's efforts, the heartbreak had felt very real for Mavis. Her innocence and sensitivity are adorable, but they also tend to be her strength. Despite her physical vampire strength benefits, Mavis is mentally strong. She's very determined and focused, and she didn't let all the disappointments she faced keep her from seeking out her dreams.
My turn!
Maybe, I told you, it took me years to get this good.
Well, I'll give it a try.
Mavis's coming-of-age character arc was more like the extent of her curiosity and ambition, and just how far they could get her to go. Mavis's life was very structured according to her father's wishes, and his instructions were simple. She couldn't go away from the hotel. Dracula was ready to do anything to keep his daughter safe, and he was willing to do anything for her, except give her what she wanted most in the world, to explore it. Meeting Johnny and hearing about the world from him made her more curious to explore, and she did. Her curiosity fueled her ambition, and she was more direct with her father about her desires. Being able to defend and validate her emotions was a sign of Mavis growing up and being emotionally ready to take on the world. By the time she was getting married to Jonathan, Mavis had developed emotional maturity and she was able to handle her emotions better. When their son was born, she naturally fell into the role of a protective mother, and she began to take up more responsibility in caring for her loved ones. Being a mother was slightly overwhelming for Mavis. She finally had to experience and understand firsthand Dracula's constant worries about her safety. Mavis put in the effort to develop better relationships with her grandfather Vlad and her in-laws Mark and Linda. Mavis was conscious about Dennis growing up as humanly as possible, but she was very accepting when it was discovered that her son was a vampire. Mavis took on more responsibility for the hotel's activities when she observed that her family was stressed. She booked them on a monster cruise holiday. While on the cruise, Mavis was looking out for everyone, especially Dracula, and his newly found attraction for Erica.
Full moon tonight. Look, right behind you.
But when things were resolved, she held no grudge against Erica, a true sign of maturity. From a teenager who just wanted her wishes to come true, Mavis grew to become a mother who was concerned about the safety and emotional well-being of her family. Mavis's relationships with those around her played a huge part in her emotional development. Though she had love and care from her father, Dracula had a strong protective hold on Mavis, which ultimately led to her teenage angst. But Mavis and her father still had a very good relationship. They looked out for each other, and they had beautiful moments together. Meeting Jonathan was a turning point in Mavis's character development. It was the first time she had a friendship with someone who didn't live in Hotel Transylvania. It also developed into her first crush, and much later, her first and only love. Her relationship with Jonathan taught Mavis to be fearless and follow her passions fiercely.
Stop at that playground. Look at these cute kids.
As a mother to Dennis, Mavis was overprotective, but it didn't take too much to convince her to let her son find his own path, just as she did. Mavis is a good, loving, and kind daughter, friend, wife, and mother, and she's surrounded by people who love her just as much as she loves them.
I want to see everything you did growing up.
As long as you're distracted, capiche?
Mavis grew up sheltered, but she wasn't afraid to step into the real world time and again, despite the disappointments she faced. When she found love, she didn't let fear or anxiety get in the way of expressing herself, and that's something we can all learn from Mavis's psychological processes. Mavis doesn't let fear kill her curiosity, and she doesn't easily derail from a path that she has set her mind on.
Well, if you don't want to.
No, are you kidding? I would eat a bucket of garlic to fly with you.
To her friends and family, Mavis is a great person to know and to love, the type of friend everyone deserves to have in their corner. If you know someone who is as curious, ambitious, or sensitive as Mavis, remember to treat them with kindness and understand that they're just searching for anything more to life as they know it. That's all for today. Thanks for joining us on the breakdown of Mavis's psychology. Take a moment to look at this other recent clip by Director's Choice, and be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring that bright notification bell to get alerts for our latest videos.